so today I'm going to test out these aquatic seeds I bought. I'm going to try a few different methods on growing them, and the first method will be growing them in this container. To then transplant into my already established aquarium. So the things I'll be using are the seeds, of course, this container, this lamp, and this fluval stratum substrate. So I'll pour some of this in there, and now I will go wash it. Okay, so I just washed it. It's all damp now. So now I'm just gonna sprinkle some seeds onto it. I got these seeds off Amazon, and I'll leave the link to them in the description. Got my handful of seeds here, so now to pour it on, or try to sprinkle it on. They're quite sticky. So now I will have this lamp on them, and hopefully they grow. So I'll check back in a few days to see if there's any growth. And I will be spraying it daily to keep the seeds damp. Okay, so this first test was a fail. The seeds never grew, and so now I'm going to try washing these seeds out. So I decided to go ahead and cut this because maybe the problem was the seeds weren't getting enough air. So I'm going to try again, and the gravel's all wet again, so I'm just going to sprinkle the seeds on top again and see if it was an air issue. So these are aquatic seeds, so in this little cup here, I'm going to put some seed in the water, see if they grow, and there's already some of the same gravel at the bottom there. And so far it looks like they are floating. So I'm going to poke them down, see if they sink. And they have all this slime on them, which actually means that they're alive, but it is a bit annoying because they stay all stuck together because of the slimy coat around them. But yeah, we'll see if that grows at all. Okay, so a few days later, still no growth. I decided to use this light instead. It's an actual aquarium light. And I also added some sand over here to see if it grows in sand. But there's actually some growth in this one. You can see that little plant there. So it turns out they do need to be submerged in water in order for the growth to work. And they don't actually need much light, because this plant showed up when there wasn't any light on it. So I'm going to add water to this container now and see if they grow while they're submerged in water. Okay, so it's been like several days later, and the lighting was actually the issue. I kind of just gave up on it and let it just sit in a random spot in my room, and it turned into this. All the seeds grew submerged in water and with low lighting, like bedroom lighting. So I did actually empty out my tank completely in order to try planting the seeds directly into my tank that way. So I emptied the tank out completely, and I planted the seeds all along where I wanted them to be, and then I put substrate on top of those seeds, and then I refilled the tank, put the fish back in, and they grew really well in the tank. They grew almost immediately, but they didn't really like to stay in the ground. So what I'm going to do with all these plants now that I have in this container, I'm going to pick up bunches and put them in the blank spots in the tank. So let's see how that works. And it looks like it worked out okay. Definitely looks slightly better, but it isn't perfect. Okay, so a new thing I discovered that I can do with these seeds is that I can directly put them in a filled fish tank, but it's pretty hard to get them down there since they're all slimy and like to stick together and to my hand. So what I do first is just get them a little bit wet in my hand. Roll it around, stretch it, get them all together. It's kind of like what happens to a marshmallow when you melt it, but then you go outside and just start stretching it, and it turns into this like taffy consistency. That's kind of what's happening with these seeds and the slime on them, and that kind of makes it stiff rather than slimy, and so it doesn't really attach to my fingers as easily. So then I just spread them out as much as I can, and then I put that gently down onto the ground and then cover it with sand, and then it grows into a patch of green. And the more light they have, the taller and bigger they get. See, the ones in front here are really small and stay that way, but the ones in the back here have grown into, well, all these plants. And something annoying about these seeds and these not really well rooted into the ground plants is that they easily become detached from the ground from like water currents and bottom dweller fish just swimming around them, and then a lot of them end up clogging the intake filter, and I just have to keep replanting them. But the pro is that they give off a nice green, easy to grow carpet in your tank, and they don't need any CO2 or any strong lighting, just water. So for those reasons, I recommend these seeds, just because they're easy to grow if you want like a green grass-like carpet in your tank, and it's best to plant them in a tank that isn't yet set up, so you can just sprinkle the seeds on the substrate and then cover it with substrate and then fill the tank up. But I wanted to show you in this video some ideas I did to put seeds in a already established aquarium. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful to some of you, and again, I will leave the link in the description to where I got these seeds. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.